A crowded Western supermarket aisle. A toddler screams at the top of their lungs, kicking the floor because they cannot have a candy bar. The parent, exhausted and embarrassed, snaps and yells a loud, emotional no. The toddler screams even louder. To a Western parent, this is a daily battleground. A constant test of wills. But what if the word no is the very thing that is locking your child's brain into a state of panic? In Japan, you will rarely hear a parent yell this word in public. Instead, they use a quiet, neurobiological buffer, a practice that lasts exactly 90 seconds. Letting go of our default reaction and stepping back for 90 seconds is something I personally find almost impossible to practice. The fear of losing control is real, but the science forced me to rethink my own behavior. By the end of this video, you will discover the 3 concepts from Japanese parenting that build a self-regulating brain, and how you can apply them tonight. This screaming match is not a discipline problem. It is a biological reaction. When a child hears the word no, their brain perceives it as a sudden threat. The fear center of the brain, the amygdala, immediately fires, flooding their tiny body with cortisol and adrenaline. They are not trying to manipulate you. They are experiencing a biological alarm. This channel is about one thing, the hidden psychology of your child's world. The science most parenting content skips. Not because Japan is perfect, but because the data keeps pointing to the same thing. According to a landmark 2022 study from the Stanford Center on Adolescence, verified study, parenting that supports autonomy, allowing children to process their emotional triggers without immediate adult interference, is directly linked to higher executive function. It turns out that the constant use of emotional stops actually prevents the brain from building its own regulatory pathways. But the science of how we step back is where the 90-second wave begins. To understand why this 90-second window is so critical, we have to look at how a feeling behaves inside the human body. Here is what I find fascinating. According to research from Harvard University, verified study, when a person has an emotional reaction, a chemical process is triggered. Stress hormones are released into the blood, they surge through the body, and then, they are completely flushed out. And this entire chemical process takes exactly 90 seconds. This means that a toddler's physiological response to being denied something only lasts for 90 seconds. If the tantrum continues past 90 seconds, it is because we are feeding the fire. When we yell, argue, or try to reason with them during this window, we trigger a new release of stress chemicals, resetting their biological clock. In the West, our default response is to step in immediately with control, or to feel guilty and give in. But in Japan, parents practice a form of emotional pacing.
It's okay.
When a child begins to melt down,
I'm right here.
The parent does not immediately yell or try to fix it. They use the 90-second scan. For 90 seconds, they remain completely silent. They do not speak, they do not negotiate, and they do not show anger. They simply stand nearby, breathing slowly, acting as a calm physical anchor. They allow the biological wave of cortisol to wash over the child and dissolve naturally. The research tells the opposite story of what we expect. If you can survive the first 90 seconds without adding your own emotional stress, the child's brain will naturally start to calm itself. Most of us are still doing the opposite at that age, trying to force compliance when the brain is literally incapable of listening.
All right, let's clean this up.
But remaining silent is only the first step. The second concept is actually the harder one to accept, because it asks you to change something about yourself. Not just your child. I will explain in a moment. This brings us to the second concept. Mimamoru. It translates literally to watch and protect. To Western viewers, it looks strange. To Japanese families, it is just Tuesday. When a Western parent sees a child crying on the floor, they feel an urgent need to intervene. We feel that if we do not fix it, we are failing. But Mimamoru is about giving the child space to feel their emotions, while wrapped in a silent safety net. It is not a method. It is a way of seeing your child. During a meltdown, the parent steps back 1 meter, keeps eye contact, and remains warm but quiet. They do not walk away, which would feel like abandonment. But they do not interfere, which would prevent growth. And honestly, as a parent, this is incredibly uncomfortable. It requires us to manage our own anxiety, our own embarrassment in public, and simply observe. According to Notre Dame University research, verified study, early emotional regulation is built through co-regulation, the process where a child's nervous system mirrors the calm state of the parent's nervous system. Inside the brain, mirror neurons are firing. If the parent is calm, the child's brain detects that safety and begins to mirror that calmness. If the parent is angry, the child's brain detects danger, and the tantrum escalates. By practicing Mimamoru, you are not ignoring the child. You are using your calm nervous system to act as a shield, absorbing their panic.
Can you hold this
You
bag
are
for me
telling
while
their
I grab the
brain,
next item?
I see you are struggling, I am here, and you are safe. This quiet presence is what allows the prefrontal cortex to activate and take control. What comes next is not a habit at all. It is closer to a permission slip. Keep watching. Once the 90-second wave has passed, the brain enters a state of exhaustion. This is where we introduce the third concept, Kikubari. Often translated as distribution of care, Kikubari is the art of active, anticipatory attention. It is the opposite of reacting to a crisis. It is about subtly shifting the child's environment before the next trigger can occur. Instead of saying no to a request, Japanese parents use Kikubari to offer a dopamine redirection. They do not ban the desire. They redirect the child's focus to a small, helpful task. If a child wants a toy they cannot have, the parent might ask them to help carry a grocery bag, or to find a specific item on a low shelf. According to MEXT, cultural artifact, these small tasks are not distractions. They are tools that trigger a small release of dopamine,
Can we get ice cream later?
replacing the stress chemicals with a sense of purpose.
Inside?
Wow.
We are redirecting their executive control network, turning an emotional block into a physical action. But I want to be careful here, and keep things realistic. This approach is not easy. The reality of parenting in a busy, loud Western city means we do not always have the time or space for a 90-second pause. We must also acknowledge the dark side of this expectation in Japan. The pressure of Meiwaku, the societal rule to never cause inconvenience to others, creates massive pressure on Japanese mothers to keep their children quiet.
Check.
This can lead to high maternal anxiety and emotional suppression. There is no perfect parenting system. Both approaches produce healthy children, they simply take different paths. If you have yelled or lost your patience, do not feel guilty. Your child is resilient. So, how do we apply this tonight? Start small. The next time your child begins to cry or throw a tantrum, do not speak. Commit to the 90-second buffer. Look at your watch, take a deep breath, and stand 1 meter away. Simply observe and breathe calmly. Allow their physiological wave to run its course. If this changed how you see your child, hit subscribe. Every week we go deeper into the real science of parenting. I will see you in the next one.